I'm starting off a little road trip or a day of errands with Chewy, the 1 litre turbo diesel Daihatsu Charade today, 1992. I don't have a fuel gauge, so I set the mileage every time I fill. So I have 109 miles done at this point. Just for the overall reference, 43,716.7. That's probably 143 in its lifetime. The clock only does tens of thousands. I'll do a little bit of a mileage test later on. I'll top it up at a garage along the way. But 2.5 years after restoring Chewy, I just want to see what he's up to. Like what a day of running around doing errands over a few hundred kilometers is like in this car. It's going to be a really warm day. It's summertime. It's just 9 o'clock, as you saw there.
Castletown Bear was preparing itself for its big festival weekend in August. So I took a little bit of a cruise down around the amusements, which were quiet in the early morning. Leaving the town limits, we were soon up to speed.
So what's Chewy like to drive? I'm in 5th gear now, doing 55 miles per hour indicated, which is about 80 kilometers an hour. It's a 100 kilometers an hour section of road, which is quite twisty, and it's actually nicely in its power band around 80-85 kilometers an hour. Things get a little harsh when you bring it up to the 100k, 60 miles an hour, and I think that motorway speed would feel a little bit unmerciful. Probably do it alright for a short spell. It's handy enough for overtaking slower cars, and but yeah, it's a kind of a rural road cruiser really. 5th gear, go along just nicely. Unfortunately, the rev counter doesn't work. We never had it working. It's something I should investigate sometime, but as it's taken 2.5 years to make a video like this, could be a while before I get to do anything like that. I'm in the middle of the Open Cadet historic rally car project at the moment, but it's nice to have something old to run around in while I am immersed in that project. I'm up behind a slow Jeep and trailer at the moment.
Soon free of them, I was enjoying how easily Chewy slips through on these narrow country roads. Not going up the Healy Pass today, which is where I had some of my first drives with Chewy back on the road, but enjoying how he pulls through the gears. It was a really beautiful day to be on the road.
That's quite a decent hill up out of Glengarriff there. Just nice to see the temperatures finding himself. Chewy seems to like to sit at about 1/3, and then with a strong hill gets up to just a little bit below half. I think that's about where the thermostat opens, and not seeing it going any higher than that, which is great. I'm about to arrive in Trimaleague, which is where Chewy was sold on day one back in 1992. I've called in a couple of times, but I haven't had time to take a video.
As I pulled in, I spotted Sean Collins himself and his son Mark doing a bit of a job on the forecourt. Chewy still sports their original dealer plates. While I was filling up, the two lads spotted Chewy. Last year, while touring around with a friend, we took a couple of shots while we filled up. This is probably where Chewy got his first tank of fuel, so it's nice to go back to the source. I think Mr. Collins was proud to see one of his sales still going strong. We took this lovely picture last year. I filled the little car to the brim, and this time I didn't have much time to hang around, as I had quite a few calls to make. After settling up, I zeroed the clock and headed off again.
A bit of a diversion, I suppose, or as the crow flies, it wasn't too bad, but it meant we had to take some serious country roads to get to our next destination, which I'm dropping off a couple of pictures to be framed for my wife Sarah in Clonakilty. So yeah, a bit more than we bargained for today. Apologies for the squeaky brake pedal. Anyone thinking that this was just an economy run.
Collins is definitely a strong name around here. I got to Clonakilty at about 11 o'clock to drop off Sarah's pictures. That only took a second, and I drove out around the heart of the town.
Delay there. Back on the road again. My next stop is by the viaduct on the way into Cork on the Bandon Road.
There was a big line of traffic going through Shannon, so this was the next test of Chewy's cooling system, and no issues there. I did see a bit of a rise to halfway in the temperatures while doing 100 kilometers an hour and climbing hills. I'm watching it closely because I lost 2 head gaskets in different engines prior to getting this one reconditioned.
That's the racket at 100 kilometers an hour. Not too bad. It's funny, once you kind of get there, it settles in. Feels a bit alarming on the approach.
Soon we were cooling and cruising down to the entrance of what's going to be the new home for the Dogs for the Disabled. You couldn't have a better landmark for finding their entrance than the viaduct. The reason I was pushing a little bit beyond my comfort zone was to make it on time to meet CEO and founder of Dogs for the Disabled, Jennifer Dowler. But there had been a little bit of a misunderstanding. She wasn't actually at the new premises, but at the old one. So I had to scoot on over there. This would be my first urban built-up driving in the Charade for many years.
I gotta go to tow her now.
Your destination is on the left.
car, so glad I have a small car.
We did our little recording, and you can see that by scrolling back on this channel and looking at the promotional video for Ted's Opel Vauxhall Run 2024. I now had to push on to make it in time for lunch at Cork Engine Centre, where I was going to catch up with the lads who had reconditioned Chewy's engine a number of years ago.
It's really gas to be in an urban environment with this car. Just haven't done it in a very long time.
A Daihatsu Charade 3-cylinder head gasket is actually the emblem for their business. So this was an ideal photo opportunity. It was nice to bring Chewy back there under his own steam. Probably spent a little bit too long chatting with the lads, so now I had to hightail it through afternoon traffic to get back to the picture framing business in Clonakilty. Despite driving at the speed limit, the ETA was getting later and later as traffic was building on the route. Luckily, the app suggested a cross-country route which would get me there a minute before closing. I just managed to slip in the door to pick up the pictures in time to let the staff go home to enjoy this beautiful summer's evening.
I had a wee bite to eat and I'm back on the road again at 7 o'clock. By the way, we're 100 miles down on this wonderful July summer's day, and I'm heading now from Clonakilty over to the Mills in Ballyvorney for a committee meeting, I think the final one now before Ted's Opel Vauxhall Run 2024. Yes, I'm in a Daihatsu. I'll be in an Opel by next week.
This was another enjoyable cross-country dash.
Make it to the meeting 2 minutes to spare. I stopped to do a little bit of video transferring.
This sped up video shows anyone heading for the start of Ted's Opel Vauxhall Run 2024 how to get to the Mills in Ballyvorney from the Cork side. As always, the cars will assemble in this entrance on the right on the green. Just in time again. It would be a night drive home.
Hitting the road home, Castleton Bear. What's the distance? kilometres home. 145 miles done since the topped up in Drimoleague. Should make it home just before midnight.
Again, this was no straight line cruise. There were some lovely twists and turns on the way home. Before going anywhere again, I topped up the Charade at 215 miles with 18 litres of fuel since Sean Collins's in Drimoleague. So I worked that out at 54 miles per gallon and about 5.2 litres per 100. I don't think that's bad considering how much I was pushing on country roads. I'm very pleased with the little car.